911, what's the emergency?
My husband has been shot in the head. He's laying in the master bedroom on the floor.
What's your name?
My name's Annie Valgora.
Where is he in the house right now?
Just my son and I.
So do you believe that your son did this?
No. No, my son is 10 years old. It's okay, baby. It's okay. It's all right. Hang on.
I responded urgent status, which means lights and sirens. I was familiar with the house and was one of our former dispatchers at our communication center.
Okay, well, can you actually step outside, make sure your hands are ready to step out to the front porch for the police?
Yeah.
Once I saw her hands, I exited the vehicle. I asked her where her son is. I can see him on the couch. You just stay there with Mama, okay, buddy? When I walk in the doorway to the master bedroom, I can see a body laying on the floor, partially covered with blankets. But I could tell that he was deceased just due to discoloration on his limbs, the lividity, like the blood pooling. What's his name?
Steve.
S-T-V-E-N?
Yes.
Last name?
Olson.
There was a shell casing found near Steve Olson with a stamp on it for a FC-32 auto. It's difficult to make any conclusions based on the placement of any shell casings. We needed the firearm.
I still don't see a gun. There's no gun under here. Well, if there's no gun, then it's not.
There was no gun located within reach. Either he died by suicide and somebody moved the gun, or somebody shot him.
Speaking with Ann was a high priority. She's going to be the best one to tell us what actually did happen there.
Nice lady picked up the phone within the first ring.
We found out that Steve Olson had some involvement with law enforcement down in Des Moines, and he was a security guard up at Nebraska Medical Center. He worked double shifts in order to provide extra financial support to the family. Okay. What occurred last night?
Yesterday, he worked evening shift. My son likes to wait up for Steve so we can have movie time and whatnot. And we were sitting in there and we were almost done watching the next one, and I'm just dead to the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm taking medication at night because I don't sleep well. That's why I've got to make sure everything is done in the house before I take my meds.
There's definitely an example of her taking one question and turning it into 3 or 4 different answers. I could see it as an attempt in order to list out the laundry list of everything else that's going on in order to avoid the actual investigation.
You know, I was going to look at the calendar and see what time I needed to wake Steve up. I'm like, honey, are you in there? You know, and moved the pillow. The blue and white pillow was like folded over his head. So I kind of flipped it back and gave him room, and of course let out this gush of and that's when I called, and I'm like, you know, I called Mom. I said, start down this way. I need you down here right away. I said, I'm calling the police right now. I said, apparently something happened last night. Steve's been shot in the head.
She called her mom first. That struck us as very odd, very inconsistent with what most people would do if they just found their spouse, you know, dead on the floor in front of their bed. This situation, we have to kind of decipher on the spot. Is she trying to process? Is she trying to compartmentalize right now? Or is she just straight out lying to us?
Do you and Stephen have any disputes?
We had problems, and we were doing so well with our problems. Our finances are a little bit foobarred right now. That's because I'm not working, obviously, and he is, well, I know he's got an insurance policy somewhere, but I'd have to dig it up and dig it out and find out what it is. I don't know what it is, and I don't know who it's with.
She volunteers that there was a life insurance policy And so you kind of start piecing together, okay, if she was got a financial benefit, that pointed the finger more towards Ann, that she was involved in it.
And what do you think happened to the handgun?
I have no idea. I have no...
Okay.
I mean, I just don't, because, like I said, I take these meds work day and then evening shift.
Would you consent for us doing an extraction on your cell phone? Just extraction, just look through it, make sure that everything matches up, see if there's any clues on that.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay.
Have it.
Okay.
It's a piece of crap.
Ann told us there was a motion camera that was sitting up in the hallway of the second floor of the residence.
Later on that night, Steve is seen upstairs along with Ann's child. Appears to be checking the upstairs, and they walk through. Also, the camera scans across and shows a laundry pile that's located at the end of the hallway in front of the linen closet.
Hours later, when it activated itself again, based on motion, it showed that Andy walked through the camera, nude from the waist up, and we were able to discern that the laundry on the south end of the hallway had been moved and displaced.
Ann claimed that she had taken her nightly medication and that when she takes that, she's dead to the world, and she was sound asleep. She didn't hear anything. So that there's camera footage with Ann moving about through the upstairs indicates that wasn't true.
We were starting to dig through every single room upstairs, and then in the laundry room, we were able to locate a .32 caliber Beretta upside down in the dryer. As soon as we found it, we deemed it this is the murder weapon. I believe that Ann took that upstairs after she took her clothes off because she was washing her clothes. I think that she washed the gun as well.
Ann had gone to her mother's house to stay for the evening. And so we had went out to the residence in order to make contact with her, informing her that, we needed to talk to her back at the police department to finish up some stuff. So obviously we went out to the house and we did a search warrant. I definitely think we have a better idea or a better picture as far as what happened.
Okay.
So after seeing everything, I'm just gonna tell you, we found that you were responsible for Stephen's death.
Okay. I like an attorney.
Okay. You wanna stand up? When anyone requests a lawyer, when you're in that situation, you take it as a hit. But that evening, Ann was booked for second-degree murder.
There was a jail call that she had made to a family member explaining that there was a life insurance policy on Steve.
You need to call his insurance company. It's going to be like New York Life. It's going to be one of those black tubs.
The life insurance policy was located in the black tote within the bedroom.
And what was discovered is that Stephen's life insurance policy had Ann as the 100% beneficiary of that. Also in text messages, she was kind of pressing Stephen to make sure that payments were made on his premium for that life insurance policy. Their finances were in a bad place. Their relationship in general just seemed to be so volatile. She ultimately pled to first-degree assault, which sounds like a huge step down from first-degree murder. But in Nebraska, the potential sentence for first-degree assault is 50 years. So we knew that if she was willing to plead guilty to that, at her age, she'd be serving some pretty significant jail time. She was sentenced to 40 to 50 years in jail.
It's been hard, but I still talk to Steve. That's a lot of his friends and coworkers and everybody. They're like, talk to him. He's still there. He's listening.